PharmaCiMi. I'm Sarah and I'm here with Jonas Pedersen from Deallus. Thank you, Jonas, for joining us here.
My pleasure.
Could you please shortly introduce yourself and your professional background?
Okay, yeah. So I'm Jonas Pedersen. I started off actually working in the industry for both AstraZeneca and then heading up the CI function at Amgen. And then for the last pretty much 15 years, I've been with Deallus and helping grow that company.
Could you please shortly explain the main characteristics of strategic intelligence and how it differs from competitive intelligence?
Yes. So traditionally what we did, especially when I kind of started my career back in the Ice Age, it was very much focusing on in the information. And then came a focus on information and trying to make sense of it. What we're saying today in the increasingly complex world is actually what you have to do is instead look at strategic context. Understand it from the top and down and don't make your world about the details. Make sure you understand what is the strategic intent, what is the context, and how our competitors and other stakeholders and actually other kind of, should we say, macro trends shaping your environment. And from that context, you go down and do your traditional, so to speak, competitive intelligence, if that makes sense. Yeah.
To start from the big picture.
Yes.
And today you hosted a solution study entitled Strategic Intelligence in an Agile World. Could you summarize the most important takeaways of your case study?
Yeah. So Agile is a little bit of a buzzword right now, but it is a way, fundamentally, I would say, coming out of the software industry or other modern technologies, is to say when we're trying to do something we haven't done before, when there is a high degree of uncertainty, we need to work in a different way. And the biggest difference is Agile is a concept where you work in sprints. So instead of doing a project like an arrow that you shoot and aim, you are more like a guided missile. So continuously over the time of your project, you go back and you revisit, you recalibrate, and you try to make sense of what we know so far, what's the impact on our organization, and what do we do next. So, and this lends itself very well to these situations where you have a high degree of uncertainty, where you actually don't know where you're going to end up. So it's a much more agile way of working. And it actually fits very well with what I spoke about strategic intelligence, where you have to come up, get the big picture, go back down in, and then go back up again and say, how is it evolving? So we see strategic intelligence as the concept, the theory, if you like, and Agile is actually a methodology that helps you action that. So it's a nice marriage.
Okay, to have a continuous feedback loop
Yes.
and go from there. And you have discussed agility a fair amount here. What are the key elements of agile teams and functions?
So one of the most important characteristics is you want a cross-functional team. Definitely think about what are the moving parts in the world that we're trying to understand and make sure that you have people on the team who understands that. The other important piece of the team is you need the decision makers or the business representation, because the whole idea of Agile is to be very close to the business, to the decisions we're trying to make. So cross-functionality, representation of decision maker, and the last thing is you need to work in a hierarchical way. So hierarchy is the traditional pyramid. In the hierarchical world, in that cross-functional team, whatever you discuss, whoever has the most knowledge, the most insights, they lead that moment in the analysis, so to speak. So different world of working, but I think it lends itself very much to the, should we say, the new generation of people and decision makers that are coming.
Are there any obstacles with this kind of team building, and would you have any tips or best practices how to build these successful agile cultures?
Yes, I actually think the biggest challenge sits in where we said that a lot of our clients, or even, so to speak, in the pharma companies, the decision makers are used to this kind of more stick fetching. I need this, go get it to me. So I think the biggest challenge is to find people who understand I'm not just going to make a wish list and then send it off and then wait to hear something back 3 months. You need someone who says, I need to be close to this, I need to understand it, I want to be part of it. And I think that that's what I would say is also the solution, Don't try to convince the most traditional guy in the company, but find people who say, I actually understand, for me to be successful in this complex world where competition is ever more intense, I need to be involved and be close. Find that person, run the pilot, and then use that success as a way of growing your agile business, so to speak.
Get your proof of concept.
Yes.
And how do you think these new technologies such as AI and machine learning will help CI and MI managers to work more efficiently?
So I think the biggest impact we're going to see on AI and machine learning isn't necessarily within competitive intelligence as such, but in the healthcare ecosystem. And one of the impact for us is we need to understand how this is shaping the ecosystem. Now, if we look at the kind of strategic intelligence and agile world that we're talking about, as you move away of saying the important thing isn't always to find all this information, I think AI and machine learning can help to say we are much better at understanding the big picture. Any AI system isn't there yet. AI is not going to come back and tell you here is competitor X strategic intent and capabilities or etc. But they can provide and feed with that kind of basic information that you every now and then need, right? A lot of the secondary information can also help organize, even primary as we collect it. So I think on that end, secondary storage and maybe help summarize or facilitate analysis, it's going to have an impact. But the human intelligence is still the most important intelligence.
So it's basically going to be in the assisting role.
Yes, right. Absolutely. An important role. It frees up resources, but I think I'm not expecting an artificial intelligent computer to run a workshop for you any day.
That's
maybe
true.
In the future.
Hopefully not. We'd like to have you here.
Thank you.
Last but not least, you have been here with us previously,
here
in Berlin, as well as in PharmaCiMi USA. How do you find the PharmaCiMi conferences?
I really like it. And when you first appeared in our universe, so to speak, we said directly, we want to work with these guys. We want to be close. We want to be your lead sponsors. You put emphasis on a couple of things that I think is very important is people come to this meeting not just to be inspired and listen to great presentations, but also to meet people and connect. And you facilitate that through actually leveraging new technology, so to speak. Your app is absolutely outstanding in terms of helping people meet. The agenda is set up. You have these exchange routes. We have workshop setting. So if I compare to maybe some of your competition, it's much more interactive, much more exchange, and much more, should we say, in sync with time.
Many thanks. Thank you, Peter, thank you, Jonas, for taking your time for the interview, and I wish you a pleasant conference.
Thank you. My pleasure.